Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Life Writing Podcast. I'm joined by Michelle Gardner-Ince, aka GI. GI is a retired Air Force colonel, recently retired senior federal government official, business owner, author, and also one of LinkedIn's top voices. She's here to share some of her memories and experiences with respect to the aforementioned roles. Hello there, Miss GI. How are you?
What's up, brother? How are you? So good to be here with you. I feel like I'm at home. We are kindred spirits. We are Air Force veterans. We are VA former officials and have a passion for serving veterans. So there's no better place I can be. And let me just say, I will
Please.
never, ever, 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 ever forget your support to me during the initial cohort of the Vet Biz Lady
Yes.
effort.
Yes.
When people didn't
Yes.
believe, you did. And for that, brother, I show up for you any day, all day, anywhere.
All right. And just to quickly add to that, when I told my leadership, back in the office, they were like, "Oh, yeah, that will definitely be a good look for the. Well, it'll be a good look for you. Forget the office. I mean, because of course they know you. They knew you and all. So they were just as excited as I was, and it was my first time kind of leaving the office in that capacity, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And getting there and kind of seeing how you set the stage and the ladies' energy, they were feeding off of you, they fed off of one another. It was just an awesome environment to be in, period.
And let me tell you, those ladies out of the 30, at least 50% have busted the American Express statistic that says less than 4% of women owned businesses will ever generate more than $1 million of revenue per year.
Really.
That's correct.
Now that's a testament. That's
And
a
all of them have done it. At least 15 of the 30 have done it. And there's a top tier that are over that.
okay.
Yes, I don't want to mention names because sometimes people don't like for their revenue numbers to
Yes.
be all
Yes.
out there because people be coming for them after they know they making some money. But one
That's
of
right.
them, got a through the introduction in the program, became a Deloitte protege. Then they now have a joint venture with Deloitte. They are part of the VA T4NG um, um, group of 30 plus companies.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then recently announced that they are starting a second joint venture with Deloitte. Now, I was telling somebody, I said, now, they ain't starting another joint venture unless the first one made a lot of money. I'm just saying.
Oh,
So they're killing
oh,
it.
great
Those
point.
women, veteran CEOs that have come through the program, phenomenal, killing it. I'm
Great
so
point.
proud, so proud.
Yeah. And
And you were
just
there when it all started. That's
well
why we're talking.
and yes, and what I was about to say too is so gratifying for me because even though you didn't call any names, I remember for the most part every firm that was there, and I see the growth. I see kind of the proverbial from whence they came, right? So now I thanks for bringing that up. Oof, you got me fired up again. I was already ready to go, but that's great. But I think the last thing I'll say about it, that's a testament to you. For those of us who know you like that, come on, you don't do anything haphazardly. So you're going to put your all into it, and it's going
Yes,
to be some type of return on any type of energy or effort that you put into it.
I received that. And you see that GI, see that GI factor right there?
Yes, yes.
Like I have a ring. You can't see
I
it.
see
That
it.
little
There it
small
is.
ring. You
Oh,
see the big GI, but
ooh,
that small ring says the GI factor. And the story behind the GI factor wasn't I always say, it's not what you call yourself. Part of that's important, but it's also what people call you. And so a former Air Force two-star general who has
Uh-huh.
known me 40 plus years, General Mark Brown, retired Air Force two-star, now the president of Tuskegee Airmen. Uh, I was doing something on LinkedIn because everybody knows that's my favorite fun. That's my fun place, my happy place. And he paid me a compliment. I said, "Oh, sir, you were so generous. Thank you, for just, saying that." And he said, "Oh, no, it's the GI factor. Everything you touch turned to gold." I said, "Well, I don't know about that. What I don't do good, I just don't do it." But it was what he said. I never even thought about it. But
Oh,
he gave me that kind of mantra that it's the GI factor. And it really stems back to the year 2001 when I first picked up John Maxwell's book,
yes,
The
yes.
21 Most Powerful
Mhm.
Minutes in a Leader's Day. That's the biblical version of the 21 Laws of Leadership, if you've not read it. Phenomenal,
Ah,
life changing. And in that book, he said, if you focus on anything for 5 years, you can be an expert. And he reinforced that it's important to not focus on your weaknesses, but to focus on your strengths. So because because I chose to do that, that's why he said, you know, it's the GI factor. Because if I'm not good at it, I'm not doing it. I'm going to find somebody else who that's their gift or strength, and bringing them into partnership or into collaboration, right? So that's kind of how the GI factor kind of came about.
thanks for that background.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa,
Wait,
wait.
wait, wait. What?
Speaking of background,
Yes.
um, can you please give us just a few tidbits about your background?
Well, I'm a little black girl from Georgia. Uh,
Georgia.
Georgia. I am the daughter of one of the first Black Army Corps of Engineer officers. I am the daughter of the 1973 Army Wife of the Year and runner up to the Military Wife of the Year for 1973. I am the mother of two amazing children, the wife to one of the best, I call it patient, kind, loving men ever. I always say God, built him for me because wouldn't nobody else put up with me. But that's how I got to be, GI, lifetime entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur. I say, intrapreneur. I have had the opportunity to serve military members and their families through entrepreneurship because the area that I was in the Air Force, hotels, restaurants,
Right.
department stores,
Uh-huh.
grocery stores, all of those are for-profit entities, right? And that's how I grew up in the Air Force. So I've always been entrepreneurial, always, had a P&L, profit loss responsibility.
Right.
And the biggest thing I would say the Air Force allowed this little black girl from Georgia to do is something that no other corporate, probably institution would have allowed. I got to run a $1.2 billion for profit business. I was the commander of the Army Air Force Exchange Service, 5 countries, 2 states, 7,000 people, 87 locations, water plant, bakery, distribution center. We were the fastest growing fast food franchise in the military retail system. That's Popeyes and Dunkin' Donuts, Burger Kings, all those things. And we were award winning. So the 2.5 years I was the commander, we received multiple awards. And I will tell you, it was the most fun job I have ever had. I was like, Lord, this, don't tell nobody, because this is way too much fun. Um, you know, to have a driver. I had a car. I had a driver.
Uh-huh.
When I traveled in the Pacific, uh, I was flying on private jets and Black Hawk helicopters. Yes, sir. And when I got there and landed, the installation commander was on the tarmac to meet me because we were negotiating land deals and locations of new stores.
Okay.
They wanted some kind of new franchise, right, on their base because they wanted to brag and say, I brought a Burger King here. I brought a Popeyes here.
Right.
All of those things, right? And so, it wasn't just cutting babies, kissing babies and cutting ribbons. It was negotiating land deals. My house was overlooked the Pacific Ocean. My office overlooked the Pacific Ocean. And I said, oh my God, Lord, this little Black girl gets to have this kind of access to just a life that I would never have thought. And I loved every minute of it and just had a great time. And, what it taught me.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
when and if I didn't make numbers, guess what? I was briefing a board of directors that had 4-star generals from all the military services. This is no joke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
People don't think the military has that kind of business. They just think, oh, we do operations, we do those things, but there's a few of us that get the opportunity to be in the profit loss entrepreneur area. So that's
Wow.
my story.
Now,
And
I listen to the story, hearing all of these, the different positions, the first this, having that type of responsibility, if you will, first and foremost, and doing it in so many different diverse geographical locations. Now I am curious, what position, obviously this has to be early on, what position gave you your first real opportunity to lead?
Well, because I came in as an officer, I've always led, right? But I love to tell people, my first 4 years, I was a follower.
Okay.
Because my dad said to me, find a good senior NCO and hold on to their coattail. And that could not have been wiser information. So I came in being very humbled, right? That this E9, who was the chief master sergeant, Ed Moran, he's passed. I was his lieutenant. He was not my chief. I'm gonna let that sit there.
Whew. I had to come back on camera for that one. That's super deep.
I was his lieutenant. But people knew nobody messed with me. If they had correction, they went to the chief and the chief would tell me. The chief taught me to be technically competent. He taught me how to lead enlisted people. He impacted my life in such a way that to my name, I have 12 chief master sergeants that I grew, mentored from E4, E5, because I used to teach at Airman Leadership School, all the way up to chief, because I believe you lead how you were led, you love how you've been loved, and you mentor how you've been mentored, and you coach how you've been coached. And so because he treated me with respect, now granted, he knew more, I didn't, but he always did it in a respectful way. That made me want to go give to others what he gave to me.
There were so many lessons up in there. And I grabbed each and every one of them. And so this really kind of exemplifies those of us who know you, a lot of folks who are going to watch this eventually, they know you, but I'm going to personalize it. So the way you just broke that down and out now gives me a pretty bird's eye view, because I used to wonder when I first met you, and subsequently, we were at other, be it events, supporting events, be it locally or out of state or whatever. Um, I'm like, there's just something a little different about her. I've been around a plethora of leaders, be it officers, senior enlisted members, the whole nine, civilian side of things. I said, but GI and maybe I was a little biased. I'm like, she's a fellow Georgian, that she's a Georgia peach like me. Maybe that's a part of it. But anyway, I said she just has something special about her, and I like it. And I gravitated to you, and thank you for your mentorship going back years ago. I just always knew there was something special about GI, and I knew I need to stay within reach, within striking distance of her.
You are too kind, brother.
Oh, you were the lieutenant for the chief, right? I love the way that resonated with me so much just then. There had to be a role that really challenged you, stretched you. What comes to mind?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a role. I would say they were experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And the common theme of the experiences were um, self awareness, um, understanding how people saw me, um, and some people would say just trying to do too much, right? Um, I've always been an overachiever because, one of the things my dad always said to me was leave deep footprints everywhere you go. He didn't mean walk hard on people, but what he did mean is you should create history everywhere you go. They should know you were there. And so as I think back, there was a time in which I was on the IG. A lot of people don't know I'm very process system oriented because I was on the IG and I was there during the quality management era. And the Air Force had its own Malcolm Baldrige evaluation. And I was a Malcolm Baldrige evaluator for the Air Force. And so, I was very um, um, tough, I guess you would say, had very high standards as I would go out, amongst the base. But, one situation that I can remember is I went out to inspect this base, and I was kind of like, high integrity. Your score was what your score was. And I was getting pressure from my boss to change the rating because we all know, officers, base commanders, etc., wing commanders get promoted off of these ratings. And if you get lower ratings down here, then those roll up to the overall base rating. And so I was getting pressure to change this rating, and I wouldn't. And you know, integrity is something that has what I call creep. Uh, if you lower your integrity one time, then they'll come back to you and say, "Well, you did it before. Let's do it again." So I refused to do that, and it cost me. I would say it's nice to say integrity, but um, there is a cost, and most people don't realize the cost until they have to pay, and then the question is, will you write the check? And so what it cost me was um, I came out of my previous assignment to the IG as Pacific Air Force Officer of the Year, best lodging, best food, best, organization, just an amazing, amazing time. So when it came time for me to be promoted to major, um, there's two categories, two categories, definitely promote and, you know, promote. If you get a definitely promote, you're basically, it's 100%. You're gonna get promoted. People in the promote range, they scrutinize your record. They put, here's the ones that are dark gray, medium gray, light gray. If you're light gray or medium gray, chances are you may not get promoted. So, what happened was when it was time for me, with all these accolades, all these awards, I was called into the senior rater's office, and he basically said, Michelle, with all your accolades, you're going to get promoted. No worries. You're Black, you're female, you're going to get promoted. So we're going to give the definitely promote to another guy because he needs it. You don't. And that really changed me, changed my faith in the system, made me realize it's not if, but when, the system will let you know that, they're not really for you. And that, I will say, began my entrepreneurial and independence of separating my worth from the institutional worth, right? That one wasn't dependent on the other. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I did make, but the point was I had done all the things. Mm-hmm. I had gotten all the awards. I checked all the boxes, but yet. So that, I would say that was one.
Wow.
But really, I would say the themes are that I was always an overachiever. Mm-hmm. And I have a saying. And I'll tell you the backstory real quick. A friend of mine, Marine, retired. I went to his retirement ceremony. Okay. He was from Georgia as well.
All right.
I'm talking about a Renaissance man, spoke different languages, played the piano, wrote poetry, just, a Renaissance man of music, etc. And he got up his retirement ceremony. He said, I'm just a country boy from Georgia, blah, 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 blah. And me being the great-granddaughter of a Baptist preacher who sometime will speak back to the preacher, I said, who does he think he's fooling? And his college roommate beside said, shh. He said, I'll talk to you later. And so I found his roommate at the reception, and I said, why were you shushing me? He said, there was nothing wrong with what he said. You can't show everybody what you're working with. And I said, what? He said, you're going to tell me everybody deserves your excellence? He threw me a question. If you know me, I'm rarely speechless. I got something to say. But I was speechless. And I said, well, I don't know. He said, everybody doesn't deserve your excellence. I said, give me your number. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to get you an answer. And all weekend, because the retirement was on Friday, all weekend I was turning, does everybody deserve your excellence? And I woke up on Monday morning and I called him and I said, the answer is yes. Everybody deserves your excellence. Because when you are an excellent, one, you glorify God and say thank you for the gifts and talents you've given me. Two, when you're excellent, you put others on notice, you better step up your game. Three, when you're excellent, you give others permission to be excellent. And last but not least, number four, when you're excellent and your excellence joins with somebody else's excellence, that's where the money, the magic, and the mission happens. So the answer is yes, everybody deserves your excellence. So I told that story to tell you that what I realized oftentimes is that my excellence, my desire to do more, to leave deep footprints, to create history, was a threat to other people because it told them they needed to step up their game.
Mm.
And that cost me. It cost me. Because as I'm learning, as I'm older, it wasn't that I did anything wrong, but it is that my excellence made them self-reflect that they were not operating at their highest level of excellence. And so instead of digging in, it's easier to go on the attack. But what I love about the world's greatest Air Force, what I absolutely love is that, guess what? There were people, I was blessed to have people who recognized my excellence, who said, ooh, she gonna make me look good. She gonna get me promoted.
Right.
So let me let her do her excellence.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to squash that, they let me shine. And that, I will tell you, let me grow my leadership, let me have opportunity that I never would have thought of, I ever could have had, right? And it also gave me the opportunity to mentor so many people, to pull up. When I made colonel, oh, by the way, I was the first Black female colonel to make colonel in my particular specialty. I was the second to make colonel at Tuskegee, University. And there's only 12 in the history of Tuskegee. There's only 12 Black females who have made colonel. And we now, just in 2025, got our first Black female general. So the legacy of that opportunity has been so great, and it carries with it a great responsibility. And the mantra I had when I made colonel was to pull up, speak up, and right wrong.
Okay.
Pull up, speak up, and right wrong. Because you don't get, to whom much is given, much is required.
You mentioned this phrase again from your dad. The deep, the depth.
Leave deep footprints. And when you think about leaving deep footprints, it takes courage to blaze new trails, to walk where nobody else has walked, to be a change agent, right? Or an agent of change. That is required. It's easy to stay in the middle zone. Easy. But it's tough.
Real easy.
It's tough.
Real easy.
It's tough. It's tough to be a disruptor.
Yes. To be that disruptor. Yes. Every organization needs one or two.
And what I understand is people want to say we want to innovate, we want to improve, but then you want to punish the people who are trying to blaze the trail. And I think that's a cultural issue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to pivot here. This is a while back after I met you. I'm like, she really does have such an entrepreneurial spirit about her. Everything about her, is so business oriented, if you would. Even though you shared the story about, AFES and such and some other roles around that during that time frame, I would still like to know, like, when did you know you had the leadership skills that you had amassed, right? How did you know they were going to transfer into the business world like that?
Well, the first time was via a gift. Sometimes people can give you gifts. One of the greatest gifts leaders can give others is access to people who will change how they see the world and how they see themselves. And that was one of the things that General Julius Becton was a mentor of mine, U.S. Army. I just want to grow up and be like him. He's passed. He spent 40 years in the Army. Then he was the first director of FEMA. He was the DC school superintendent. He was the president of Prairie View A&M University. And then he was on the, several boards, but one of the boards was the AUSS, the Association of the U.S. Army. This guy was phenomenal. And when I retired, he said to me, he said, Michelle, you don't know your worth. He said, let me help you. He said, there's a guy that I mentor, Joe Oley. I was just looking for him not even a few weeks ago, just wanted to say thank you. Dave Oley. Dave Oley was the chief human capital officer for Exxon Oil at the time, retired Army 3-star. And when I went to meet with Joe Oley, you talk about an hour, 90 minutes that changed my life. He said, he was the first one to show me that my APHIS experience was so valuable. I just kind of took it for granted, like, oh yeah, I did that. It was nothing really big, I knew that the portfolio was big, but I didn't really understand the impact of leading a $1.2 billion business to the civilian sector, how that translated. But he took a sheet, which I still have, and he said, oh, based on what you've done, blah, 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 this is where you should come in at a corporate, should come in as a director, senior director. This is what your salary range should be. Are some of the compensations packages you should ask for. These are some of the non-monetary compensations you can add, because most of us focus on give me this in the salary, give me that in the salary. He showed me that there were other things that you could negotiate, right? Golf memberships, fitness memberships, black car service, travel, business class, and other things, stocks, etc. But just that, getting that view of myself was unbelievable, just unbelievable. That is when I began to understand the translation and how important that was. And so as a result of that, see, these are gifts that leaders, if you take someone, they're in a forest and they're at the bottom of the tree, and as a leader, you pull them up to the top of the tree and say, you may not be able to stay here, but let me show you what the forest looks like. Let me let you see what it's like up here. And then you put them back at the base of the tree, they will never see themselves the same ever again. Mm-hmm. And that's what Dave Oley and John Beckton did for me, right? And as a result of that, when I came to the VA, when I left the Air Force, I was in business for myself as a subcontractor 1099 for almost 3 years. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
So I got a call, and this is the other thing I tell people, relationships, critical. A guy that I went to the first Air Force leadership course with, Dennis May, calls me. He says, GI, I have an SCS over here who's looking for someone who can run stuff and fix stuff. And you were the first person I thought of. Are you interested? I said, sure. He said, send me your resume. I sent him my resume. Mm-hmm. I got a call to come interview. Now, I love this story because I put coins in the meter for 2 hours. I'm like, this interview is going to be 2 hours. After a 4-hour interview and a ticket, I said, I better get this job right here. I better get this job. But because of what Joe Oley exposed to me, and one of the things he said to me is, if you want to ensure your salary, get an offer from another company.
Mm.
So I came to VA with an offer from a civilian corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
as a result, I came in the federal government at a GS 15 step 8 because I
Mm-hmm.
negotiated it. But
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge I got from Joe
Yeah.
Oley
Yeah.
was what gave me confidence to ask for that. You understand?
Mm.
That's the power. That is just the power, and I think that is part of what's missing in translating um, uh, military experience, because we always go to HR, IT, operations, logistics. What else do we do? Training,
Yes. Yeah.
because those clearly, without explanation, translate.
Mm.
This new passion of mine, this is
Uh-huh.
my third transition. Think about it. I went from military to small business to government, and now I'm going from government, uh, into being a small business owner again. Um, but my whole view of um, how I taught and engaged the women veteran CEOs came from the pain that I experienced when I was a small business owner. So I never was teaching or engaging them as a federal employee. I was always thinking, what would I want to know? How do I need it delivered to me in a way that if I were a small business owner, this would position me to be more successful? And so the translation piece is so critical, especially with, we have people transitioning out of government, military, government, with all these recent changes, that translation is the challenge. And so that's why my new book, that's going to be coming out, is about, command your next mission, uh, you know, different coaching and intensive programs are going to be coming, all about helping those in transition to translate their rank to revenue. That's where that came from.
I absolutely love it. Translating the rank to revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been following you for years, literally. Um, I'm about to delve a little deeper.
Okay.
You that element of excellence that you emphasize, that you foot stomp. I I'm with you on that one, my sister. I'm with you on that one, and I try, but I frame it that way because you got me ready to turn the volume up just a little. It's already up,
Yep.
but I can turn it a little more.
Come
This
on,
is
brother. Come on.
I'm coming. I'm gonna do it.
I'm
I'm
here
gonna do
to
it.
I'm here to support you. Let's go together.
What advice do you have for an upcoming leader or even fellow leaders in today's environment?
One, the first one is you have to. It's a must. Niche in. People talk about niching all the time, but at the point of transition, you must niche inside. What I call it a book of business, portable book of business, right? So that's a common term in sales, meaning if I move from this company to that company, then there is a book of business, a group of people that I can take with me. In this case, in transition from military, from corporate, um, from government, your book of business is your, I call it 6 P's. That's what I'm going to call it. 6 P's. The 6 P's stand for people, places, processes, patterns, proximity. Oh, I forgot. I added a one recently. And pace. Pace is all about, is the timing right? So do you know people you can take with your relationships, you can take with you? Um, a something that military members don't use well, that we need to leverage more, is our relationships. Case in point, I looked on LinkedIn. I saw a guy that I retired, same organization from, is now assistant secretary in the Air Force. I said, oh my God, let me send him a note. That's why I love LinkedIn. I sent him a note. I said, hey, so-and-so, remember me? Congratulations. You know, it's hard to get in the Pentagon now. I'd love to see what your office looks like. Let me know when I can come for a visit. He immediately replies, says, hey, GI, I could never forget you, right? And I got to go see him and talk to him. Loved it. I have not talked to him in 15 years, okay?
Wow.
So I'm going to say, life is lived in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us in the military, there's a lot of stuff above the line and a lot of stuff below the line. So if you went through anything with them, a deployment, an inspection, you were there when they retired, when they got promoted, you were there when, their kid had an issue or their wife had an issue or they got demoted or got in trouble, they will never forget you. And you can call, go on LinkedIn, go find them on Facebook and say, can we catch up? And I promise in a matter of an hour and a half, you can catch up and make an ask. Because the foundation is already there.
Correct.
And we have to leverage that as business owners. So that's people, places, right? Your skills must be placed in the right place. It can't be, that's what niching is about. You can't just be all over the place. You've got to have your authority, your results, all of that have to be in the right place. So people, places, then patterns. People will pay you for patterns. You know how the military, how the government, how corporate moves. They move in patterns, but when you're on the outside and you're not in that system, those of us who are out of, I know what VA, signals and patterns are, but I don't know what it is in the Army and the Air Force. I haven't been there in years, right? So people, places, the right arenas, the right market, patterns. Do you understand the processes? I call it NBA. Do you understand their needs? Do you understand the budget? Do you understand the authority? You have to understand the processes that they go through, what impacts their needs, what impacts their budget, who's really in charge, right? So that's people, places, processes, patterns, then proximity. People love to say, oh, I know General so-and-so, I know SCS so-and-so. No, you don't. If you just know their name, if they're not answering your calls, if they won't text you back, if you don't understand who their influencers, who influences them, who's their gatekeepers, what really what's the underlying current of the decisions, then you don't know. You're not in the right proximity. So that's people, places, patterns, processes, and proximity. Then the other one is pace, is the timing right? Because everything is not no, right? No doesn't mean no to you. It might mean no to, it's not the right time. There's not the right money. Oh, by the way, no can also mean that you're in the wrong market. I always tell people it's only two things. Two things. You're either in the wrong market or they are. Or if you're in the right market, then you need to improve your signaling. If you send up a signal that I do this, it's not I do this. Let me take that back. That I saw these kinds of things, and you're communicating that in the right way, the market will pick it up and say, oh my God, you got this unique perspective. I need to come get that, and I'll pay for that. So people, places, patterns, processes, proximity, and pace and timing. That's what we got to get.
I love it. I love that. And of course, wholeheartedly agree. I, I, you know, we can talk forever. We
Yes,
keep
sir.
talking, and I
Yes, sir.
know you still have things to do. I got to close out some things, but
Yeah.
before we do that, I want you to finish a sentence for me.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I'm eager to hear what
Yikes.
your response is going to be. And simply put, since we're talking about leadership, here's the statement. If I could hold this leadership position today, it would be
Okay. Let me answer it in two ways. If
please.
I were if I were in the government,
Okay,
and
that's
then
fair.
if
Yep.
I were out of the government, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So if I were in the government, I would want to be the SBA administrator. Period. I'm going to leave it there. Lots to be done. Lots to be done. And I believe the SBA's role is greater than programs.
Whew.
So I'm gonna leave it there.
I,
I'm
understood.
not gonna go in it, but
Understood.
I would love to have that position.
Okay.
Out of the government, I think I'm in the position I want to be in, and that is as an emerging category of one
Mm,
business leader. I
mm,
did a white paper, and the white paper is all about transitioning military members in entrepreneurship. Why is it after World War II, 49% of veterans were small business owners? Today, we're less than 5%.
really?
A fact. And we got to solve that. And I want to be part of that. I am part of that solution. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. You kind of took me aback with that one now. Um, yeah, I would have lost a
49%.
million dollars had I had to guess that number.
49% of veterans. And now, mind you, we got more programs. We got more money, more programs, more focus on transitioning military members, but yet the number is less than 5%.
Hmm. That's very, needless to say, is very telling. And again, I would have never guessed it was
Yeah,
hovering that low.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We got work to do, brother.
Okay. All right. No, GI. Whoo. Um, I can't thank you enough for yeah gracing this platform, the Life Writing Podcast, with your presence. I've been wanting to get you on here for a while.
You have been.
Yeah.
And you
So
can ask me back again. I just
oh
say,
no. When I was off screen, they're just there. I've been taking all types of notes. I
oh,
got a laundry
man.
list of ideas that I will be bringing to fruition with the help of certain
Absolutely.
individuals.
You can count me as part of your kitchen board of directors.
Mm, mm.
You know,
I
when they get around the table, some people
yes,
that you can just talk to.
G,
And I
GI.
can listen, and I can listen.
That's right. Yeah, well, yes, you always do. I text you. I need to call. I don't call you often because I know. I mean, certain people, they're busy like that. I'm texting a heartbeat, kind of get a temperature read on where you are, what you do.
Mm-mm.
But yeah,
And I
um,
always answer,
you do.
why? Why?
What I mean, you trust that I'm calling for a reason first and foremost. I'm calling about business most of the time. I don't mean to call about business all the time, GI. But
It's
no,
okay.
seriously. I because we have a relationship like that, and it's one of trust and genuine trust,
And
and respect. Say again.
mutual trust, mutual respect. But let me just say, you are an amazing brother.
Thank
Your
you.
heart of gold, your passion for the veterans, and I think your loyalty. See, there's a gift you gave me that will always make me give back to you. And this is something that people underestimate. When people support you on a dream that's in its infancy, I never forget that. That's lodged in my timeline forever. Because equally there are people who did not believe, okay, who did not support.
Mm-hmm.
They're etched in that historical reference as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate them, but one of the things I believe is never forget when people show you who they are. And when people don't see you, this is the key thing. When people don't see your potential, people don't support your dreams, you don't hate them, just put them at a distance and keep them there. Because when you evolve,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who didn't think that this thing would go. And 7 years later, the Women Veterans Vet Biz Lady is a whole movement.
Indeed.
And so I say that to say I'm forever grateful. I'm forever thankful that you saw me and my vision and trusted it and invested in it. And for that, I will always answer your call.
Oh, that is okay. The volume. I've turned it up a little, a couple more notches. Gi, thank you for saying that. Really, and I'll leave that there too, because you and I have some other discussions and coordinating to do, and so forth. But I got to say it again. Thank you. You've really poured into this particular episode, helping to push things forward, and I am very appreciative of that. And yes, I will be calling you back, and after I check your availability or what have. This was a wealth of very fruitful and meaningful information that has touched me through and through. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Like this video, leave a comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In addition to the blog, the Life Writing Podcast is simply another way we creatively inform and inspire, helping people write the lives they desire. Until the next time, take care.